Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a smoking cessation hypnosis recording that was created for a client that really wanted to change their relationship with smoking for their children, and that they wanted to make sure that they were setting a good example for them, but also that it wouldn't affect their health to the extent that they wouldn't be there for them in the future. And because that was the key motive, what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is using the emotional leverage of a dilemma. And a dilemma that very few smokers would ever choose is if a parent had to choose between smoking but never seeing their children again, and then having a future with their children but never smoking again. That's almost the easiest decision ever to make for 99.9% of parents. But it's never a dilemma that most people would be forced to make. So in this hypnosis session, what you're going to hear is a couple of things that make it a bit different from most smoking cessation hypnosis sessions that I've done in the past. The first is to identify with the idea that you are already a non-smoker, that the last cigarette that you've ever had was already your last cigarette and there won't be another one, so that you are already a non-smoker, that you could choose to be a smoker again, but as of right now, you're a non-smoker. And that tends to be the direct opposite that most people looking to quit have. They believe themselves to be a smoker that wants to quit or is trying to quit, without realizing that trying is a very powerful presupposition of failure, that if you're trying to do something, more often than not, you don't achieve it. But being a non-smoker that then has to make a choice to start again, but by starting again, they would have to communicate directly to the people that would be perhaps negatively affected by their choice, becomes an insurmountable hurdle for a lot of people. They would never want to do that, which makes smoking very undesirable. If you're listening to this and you're a smoker and you want to quit, there is a link in the show notes to schedule a free consultation call with me. But you might find that if you are a parent and you are a smoker and you want to stop smoking for your children, you might find that this is actually quite a useful session anyway, in which case find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy this session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, relax your eyelids, muscles around your eyebrows, your jaw, your cheeks. Even feel like your throat, your neck, your shoulders are all relaxing. So it's easier to breathe, easier to swallow. I want you to get a sense that there's even muscles that you wouldn't even think about that are starting to relax. The muscles around your ears, your scalp, even muscles in your toes and fingers. Continue to breathe in and breathe out and just feel this wonderful feeling of relaxation. And notice that as you slow down your breathing in deeper and exhaling deeper, and as you slow down your thoughts, you start to relax, thereby giving you evidence that it's possible to deal with stress by slowing things down. There are certain things that enable you to deal with things because you can look at them objectively, see them as they actually are. Know that life comes one day at a time. And in doing so, you've got time to make choices, to evaluate things. And one of the best questions to evaluate a part of who you are and what you do is to ask yourself the question, knowing what I now know, would I start to do that thing? And if with all the information you have, the impact it's had on people you love, the impact it could have in the future, knowing everything that you know, if the answer is no, then normally it's a good idea to stop doing that thing. Sometimes people ask that question about a relationship. Knowing what I now know, would I choose to be with that person? But you can also look at that from habits, coping strategies, knowing everything that I know. Is that even working? Is that even helping? I want you to get an idea that in order to be a smoker, you have to keep on smoking. But I want you to accept a new idea. That your last cigarette was your last cigarette. You are already a non-smoker and feel a wave of relief and freedom go over you, that you realize that you are already free from the identity of being a smoker. Every smoker has a story they tell themselves as to why. Deals with stress, it's social, helps me. But when you become a non-smoker, you can look backwards in time and realize that that was never true. It was just the illusion of truth that kept the addiction going. And I want you to look back on that last cigarette that you had as if you're looking at someone else. I want you to see someone that needed that substance. Not because they actually needed it, but because they thought they needed it. And I want you to feel empathy for that version of you from the past that needed that cigarette. And to feel a sense of relief that that's not you anymore. That the version of you that smoked is in the past. There was a time when you smoked socially. And there was a time that you smoked to deal with the pressures and the stresses of life. But you don't need cigarettes to be social. And I want you to think of a time recently that you were smiling and joking and laughing, interacting with people, and you weren't smoking. You felt free. You felt relaxed. And I want you to notice who was there at the time. And maybe you can see your children playing. Maybe in the sun, playing with water. And I want you to get a sense that there are certain things in life that really matter. And the love you feel for your children are one of those things that really matters. And then I want you to get a sense of what doesn't matter at all. And that cigarettes are just one of those things that, in the big scheme of things, don't matter. Because if they were helping to deal with stress, you would only need one and the stress would never come back. Therefore, it doesn't help deal with stress. It's not needed for social situations. All it is a parasite, encouraging you to do something destructive, but not destructive enough to kill you straight away. And that as of that last cigarette that you had, you are now free of that parasite. Every addiction is a parasite, existing within their host and influencing their host to do the behavior that the parasite wants. And I want you to feel how good it feels to be free of that parasite. You are already a non-smoker. But I want you to imagine, now that you're a non-smoker, you're going to do things that align with being a non-smoker. A non-smoker doesn't have cigarettes, so you would throw them away. A non-smoker doesn't buy cigarettes, so you just don't buy any more. A non-smoker deals with stress in a different way. I want you to align with this new identity of being a non-smoker and deciding that if you are ever going to be a smoker again, you will be fully transparent with all the people you love the most, letting them know your intentions and letting them know that you are going to put cigarettes and smoking above their concerns or their fears. And I want you to imagine that maybe it's a year, 2 years in the future, something stressful happens and you think, I really want a cigarette. But in order to step into that new identity of being a smoker again, you would call a family meeting with the people you care for and love the most. I want you to imagine you're hosting that family meeting and letting them know that you really want to start smoking again. But I want you to imagine you're doing a presentation, and I want you to imagine that you're showing photos of someone that you loved that perhaps died early as a result of smoking. And I want you to imagine how difficult it is to say the words that even though smoking may have contributed to the death of this person, that you are now still intending to smoke. That you're choosing cigarettes over the security, the protection, the love for those people you love the most. And I want you to imagine seeing the faces of the people in the room that really don't want you to do this. And if you can see those faces and you can hear those concerns, you would know that still choosing to smoke is choosing cigarettes over your children, over your family. And if there's a feeling that this would not be something you would want to do, let me know by nodding your head. But if you did want to do that, I would want you to imagine smoking in front of all of them. They're all around you. And I want you to imagine that you're trying your very hardest to feel that this is somehow empowering, inspiring. You're the kind of person that needs an addictive substance just to deal with the stresses and strains of life that millions upon millions of people deal with without cigarettes. I want you to imagine lighting that cigarette with your children watching you and trying hard to feel that this is somehow helpful while everyone is watching. And if there's a feeling that this isn't you, this used to be you, but it's not you anymore, that you are a non-smoker, then I want you to imagine putting it down and telling everyone in that room that you will never smoke again. You will never put cigarettes over the love you have for them, that you will be there as long as you can be there, and anything that poses a risk to you not being there, you're not willing to do. And then I want you to see the faces of relief and joy and connection. And I want you to link all of those wonderful expressions connected to the idea that you are a non-smoker and will never smoke, because you would never put cigarettes over the life of your children. Many people say they will die for their kids, but would you actually live for them? Would you live for them at the time when they're most vulnerable, when they're in the need of guidance and protection and support? And if every cell of your body connects with the idea of being a non-smoker, but also that you're choosing to value love, family, health and vitality over an addictive substance that doesn't even work, let me know by nodding your head. You are a non-smoker. And I want you to imagine what the next few days and weeks looks like as a non-smoker. Throwing away any lighters, any cigarettes, any ashtrays, any echoes of your past. And over the next few days and weeks, the things you used to notice, like other people smoking, seem to disappear. Places you used to buy cigarettes seem to appear invisible. And notice that you're increasing your awareness of all the other choices and options you have to deal with stress and worries and pressures and deal with things in a new, positive, empowering way. Getting some fresh air outside, having a stretch, drinking a glass of good quality water. By getting those stressful things out of your head onto a piece of paper and then asking yourself, what can you do to help? All of these things work so much better. All these years of smoking, you've been trimming the leaves of a weed. It gives the illusion that you're reducing that problem, that stress, but it just comes back bigger and stronger. You as a non-smoker is pulling the weed out at its roots, giving you ideas and inspiration and motivation to deal with life in a different way, and you have evidence that that's possible because you were a non-smoker throughout your entire childhood and most of your teenage years. You were a non-smoker throughout your pregnancy and time of breastfeeding. And you are also a non-smoker now. And allow it to feel good that you no longer smoke. Someone offers you a cigarette. No thanks, I don't smoke. But I thought you did. No, I used to, I don't anymore. Feel how effortlessly the words leave your lips as you totally align with the identity of being a non-smoker. And when every cell in your body is a non-smoker, let me know by nodding your head. Feel the relief, the empowerment, the confidence. And then I want you to create an image of the face of an ex-partner. And I want you to hear them tell you that you're not strong enough to be a non-smoker. You'll be sneaking off and going back to it soon. Hear the words leaving their mouth, see their face. See the smugness, the cackle in their voice as they have zero confidence that you can stick to this. Hear the words as they say they're going to laugh when you fail. And if this increases your resolve, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to imagine going forward way into the future. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Enjoying the health, the vitality, the freedom, the possibilities. Enjoying all of those memories and experiences that you had from being a healthy, happy, in control person. And when you have evidence that your present and your future is also a non-smoker, then it's time to return to the present. And you will return to the present as a non-smoker. That your last cigarette was your last cigarette. And in order to have a future one, you're making a commitment to yourself that you would have to inform all those people that you love the most that you're putting your desires above their needs. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Feel like you're returning to the present completely as a non-smoker, someone that doesn't smoke anymore. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, and you will awaken as a non-smoker. Your last cigarette was your last, and there is no desire for any more. Any cravings are just clues that you are breaking free of any dependency, and you feel relief and pride and accomplishment starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.